I curate certain topics and I bring them off the down low for you guys, because I want you to know, and I believe these things are important. So take a look. We're going to look at the sun today. And this is from helioviewer.org. And what HelioViewer is a place where you can use some of the cameras that we have in strategic places in space. And what it does is it is in the gravitational pull of the Earth and the sun, so that it's even, so that it stays in there in this place and it doesn't move. They're called Laplace points. Okay, there's a lot of cameras up there. This happens to be the AIA. You can see that there, AIA 171 down on the bottom left, and then this is going to be September 10th, 2018. And this video goes from, I believe, September 9th through September 10th, several hours. Here we have the sun, and this AIA is a spectrum. You can see, I have this on really slow so that you can see this eclipsing object. So look, here we go. There's the first eclipse, and that's at 9/9/2018 at about 11 o'clock. Then it goes after midnight, and then here it comes at about 2:30 in the morning. How in the world can an eclipsing celestial object be coming from one direction, from the top left down to the bottom right, and then make a U-turn and come back? Watch this again. I'm going to play it at a little bit faster so you can get a better view. Let's try this and play a little bit faster. Here we go. There we go. Here it comes back again. If you watch that time down there, I'm having it in repeat. What's going on here? Are there other celestial objects in space that nobody's telling us about? There it is again. Watch that a few times. So this HelioViewer, you can make your own videos. You can say start here, end here, and that's what I've done. I haven't done any type of work on, haven't touched it up. I haven't done any editing. It's straight from HelioViewer. You can go there yourself and check it out on this date on this camera, AIA 171. How in the world does the sun get eclipsed by supposedly the moon, but then it comes back around? How is that possible? How can we as the Earth be going around the sun, orbiting the sun, and then the moon is orbiting us in one direction? How does it reverse and come back towards the direction that it just came from? And I'm assuming that this is the moon. Let's pause it. How about that? Let's pause it where the first one. Let's see. Let's just do this. Let's push play. Whoa, too fast. Let me slow it down. Let's slow this way down and let's hit play again. Let's do this. Rewind. Okay, here we go. Now, if we look at the size of this thing, see if I can go back one frame. Let's see, that is not going to work. Okay, let's do this. There it is. So we can see that it's, now the moon eclipses the sun, and since we are at a certain distance from the sun and the moon is a certain distance from us, it's exactly 400 times smaller than us. And we are 400 times farther away from the sun than the moon is from let me see if I can get this right. The moon's distance from us to the moon and the distance from us to the sun, we are 400 times farther away from the sun, and the moon is exactly in the place where it's 400 times smaller than the earth. So in the sky, it fits the sun's perfect disk diameter. So it covers it up perfectly. I think it's divine creation, and I think it was preemptively made by this great creator, the Most High. Now, if we look at this, it looks like it's just off, like it's a partial eclipse, like not a partial eclipse, but not a total eclipse because it's a little bit off. And that depends on what part of the earth you are in, or you are seeing this from. So here we go. This is a camera that doesn't move. Now let's see. If we look at this now, look at this. Let's do this. Let's push play. Let's pause it. Oh. Let's pause it when this one comes back as soon as we can. Let's see. And let's see what this thing looks to be. The same. Oh, okay, now. Okay, now. Oh. That is tough to do. Let's try that one more time. Let's see. Boom. And let's go. Boom. Okay, there we go. Now let's pause it. Pause. There we go. Now, does this thing look as though it's the same size as the other one? The first one? Now, look at that. It's a little bit over now. There's no way that something can come through. Let's see, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 hours later, after midnight, on September 9th, it came through at about 11:30 at night, p.m., and then it came back at 9 at September 10th at 2:22 in the morning, which is 3 hours later, roughly, comes back in the retro direction from bottom right to upper left. I don't know what's going on here. I just thought I'd let you guys know because there's this talk about Nibiru and Planet X and the Anunnakis, the whole Zachariah Sitchin tale, his theories and his assessments and deductions of the Sumerian tablets that are in cuneiform that he has translated and put into a many forms, many books, but put into many books about the story of the Anunnaki, and they come down, they live in this planet called Nibiru, and or I believe the star is called Nibiru, or it's the sun's twin, because a lot of the stars in our galaxy have a binary twin that they either are close to or they orbit around. And actually, most of the stars in our galaxy, there are more stars with binary twins than there are stars without a binary twin. So us not having a binary twin, being that our sun is one of the most common, most abundant kind of stars and size, that we would have a binary twin, but there are just not a lot of records that we can look towards and say, hey, yeah, that was true. Maybe in the library that got burned, and I forgot the name of that library that was in the Roman times, and I believe it was in Rome or Italy. Where was it? It was the great library where all the scrolls were, and it got into a fire and it burned down, and that would have had some greater, longer history of the world and what exactly our creation stories would have put more clarity into them. And we don't have that anymore. We have these cuneiform tablets that were in the possession of Iran and Iraq and the Middle East, and in Baghdad, there was over 500,000 of these cuneiform tablets. Cuneiform is just a way of writing, and they would put a stick which they would push into the soft clay, and later on it would become stone. I believe they fired them, some type of ceramic or something, and then these stones have lasted this long. And a lot of our stories, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Book of Enoch, and other scrolls were taken from these cuneiform tablets, the Aluma Elish, and other forms of books. And in Zacharias Sitchin's translated these things. And what I'm trying to say is that there is another solar system, because if our sun has a binary twin that comes in and out of our proximity, I believe every 12,000 or 35, there's a whole constituents of people that they have a lot of different, nobody knows for sure. There was also Harrington, the astronomer that used to do I'm going to have this on repeat here, that used to do the sunspots, and he would work. His job was to watch the sun and all of the sunspots and just make a record of them every day. And he worked for many years, and he had seen something, and they have actually named one of the planets. Now, if the sun has a binary twin, that means that it is a star as well. Some say a failed star, which it didn't ignite yet. They say Jupiter's a failed star. Saturn could be a failed star where they don't ignite. Like when you put your campfire out and you have those red or hot embers that just kind of sit there, and they're still hot for many hours. You got to pour water on them and you start a fire, or you don't want to leave those embers out there. But if you think about a whole planet that is embers, it would be red, and it wouldn't have ignited, but it was red like charcoal for the barbecue. So I would imagine that this failed star that didn't ignite is still hot, but it's like the embers of your campfire where it's really red. It still gives out heat, but it's not a lot of light and not as hot as the sun. I would imagine that this Nibiru star, failed star, or brown dwarf is what they call it actually. This brown dwarf is a star, and it has planets and moons, and they orbit it just like we orbit our sun, and it orbits that sun and the brown dwarf, and it's actually orbiting, and together with us, they're in a dance, so to speak. Every so many hundreds of thousands or thousands or hundreds of years, they come back into proximity, and then they kind of spin away from each other again, and then it happens over and over again. It's a long, very elliptical orbit around each other. We are influenced by it. It is influenced by us. Now, what they're saying is this brown dwarf with its own planets and with its own sun, with its own planets, with its own moons, is coming towards our solar system, which is, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, so to speak, etc. And we are a solar system. So if you imagine a solar system that looks like a pancake with the things going around, then you imagine this brown dwarf, which is called Nibiru, I believe, is coming down. and we are going to be real close in proximity to one another. And that's what Zecharia Sitchin says, and that's what other scholars are saying. The Planet X, the blue. There's another name called the blue Kachina. There are many names for this thing, and if it was in our proximity and it had moons and its own planets, wouldn't this kind of be something that would look exactly? Well, what are we looking at here? It could be something similar to this actual video that we were watching here. Let me put that back. The video that we're watching here could be a moon, or it could be the brown dwarf that went by, and then here's a planet that's going by, or it's our moon, and then the brown dwarf happens to be in the same area, but maybe they're, it's just, that could explain it. This could explain it. Now, if you look up on top here, it says 175,000 kilometers. Whether that's the sun scale. So if you do the sun scale, the Earth is about, and when you look at this sun, the Earth is about that little dot above this brighter dot. This big sunspot to the right here that's turning. It's like the smaller little tiny one up above. That would pretty much be. Now, I'm not sure what that sound is. So let me see here. Oh, we have, I'm sorry, I have this video playing in the background. Let me turn that off.
The woman accused of leaving her.
If we have the Nibiru, or the solar system from the brown dwarf that's coming in, and we somehow are meeting one another at this time, it would explain this kind of situation here with this helioviewer.org video that I created. Just want to let you know that this is unprecedented and it's never happened before. There's no explanation. Why is it here? Why are these two eclipses of some celestial objects happening in the same day within 3 hours? How do you explain that? I don't know. Something for you to think about. Something that's not on the down low anymore. You know it. Please like and subscribe. If you are looking at these videos, you got any comments, please put them down below, good or bad. Let me know. I'm trying to build my audience, and thank you for watching.